support players everywhere. He's fighting for them. But traditionally, support players, although Frozen did say support doesn't really matter if it's in the 1v1, traditionally it has mattered at All-Stars. Usually the support players and the junglers fall out pretty quick in the 1v1 tournament. We'll see if Meiko can be the exception to the rule here.
Well, I know Meiko when he made his debut on EDG at least 2 years ago, a while ago now. I remember casting those games, and this is when anti-support was in vogue. He played at least 10 games of anti-support in a row, so certainly is comfortable on the Burst Champions as well. But let's have a quick look at the champ select. Rise and Karma, actually the first two bans here, so Majors taking hits.
Certainly are, and obviously Karma is one of those champions that a support player is going to be very comfortable in, and also can be pretty effective in the 1v1s. It's actually pretty strong as a solo laner too. Yes, people know about it in mid lane, but it's pretty popular in top lane, sometimes as kind of a cheesy pick there also. So we'll have to see if Frozen is actually just going to target more of the support pool, or if he thinks that he should just target what is the most strong champion as far as a 1v1 goes.
Well, have to see. Cassio ban there for Meiko. I'm kind of curious, though, your thoughts on Rise as a 1v1 champion. It's not something I would immediately think this is really good in a 1v1.
Well, one of the things I think that is going to be pretty strong about Rise when you're looking at a lot of these champions is how good his wave clear is. He's going to have the point and click stun. He does have a lot of lockdown and actually kind of dueling potential, I think, as one of those champions. Usually what Rise struggles against, in my opinion, is the fact that he's kind of this mid-range champion, and in the 5v5 can be locked down, can be CC'd when he's pushing up there. And in the 1v1 duel, I think he can be very strong. Yes, he could still struggle against some of the poke champions, but if you can close the gap, you definitely could be able to get a kill for yourself.
All right, looks like we've had a
skip ban, perhaps, maybe an oopsie.
Yep, I think an oopsie is we are going to restart this 1v1. I think Frozen couldn't quite find the champion he was looking to ban, so just going to remake that one and get it all going. But I believe those first two bans will stay. We'll have to get confirmation on that, but not a whole lot shown here to start things off.
Yeah, I would assume those stand. And sometimes it's a situation where the client is in a different language or something like that, and then it's pretty understandable if you can't actually type it in and search it to find where that champion is. But we will be getting this back going pretty quickly here.
Yep, thankfully not a whole lot to get aligned as far as starting a 1v1 goes. Only need two players. And we've got them both, again, just kind of fixing their things. Looks like Frozen might be logging back in, so it shouldn't be too far to get this one back going.
Yeah, definitely not, but so far, only a couple games in, but no AD carries have actually won a 1v1,
That is
so
correct.
It's already kind of breaking some of my expectations.
AD champions in general, actually, doing not so good.
Pantheon.
Oh, he did win.
You forgot.
I already forgot he won. That's how close it was.
That was like 30 seconds ago, Pastry. Get it together.
Sorry. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
But certainly a fun one here, and a great way to end day one of All-Stars 2017 here, casting some 1v1s. Curious to see, though, what else happened. I think I agree with the sentiment that we've actually seen quite a lot of diversity in these first few picks. I mean, these are going to be pretty, obviously, very individual players. They only have to play for themselves. Likely going to have different thoughts about what is good, especially early into the tournament.
Yeah, and people I definitely think are going to be adapting and kind of stealing some of the strategies that they think other people are doing very intelligently. I actually thought Futures Market seemed pretty smart from PoE. Maybe some players are going to actually try to steal that from him and try to use that for themselves. We have been seeing a little bit of consistency as far as bans go, though. We've seen a couple Rise bans. We've seen a couple Cassio bans. We've seen Pantheon picked once, banned once. So definitely there are some kind of accepted champions, or at least people are thinking about, at the very baseline, what is annoying to 1v1 in solo queue, right? And what are some of the most lane-dominant champions in solo queue, and how do you avoid those? So we are going to be back in and hopefully flying through this pick ban pretty quick.
Yep, there's Rise again from Meiko. So the bans we saw earlier will stand, and we'll see what the players have to get through for the rest of them here. So Karma again for Frozen. I believe Cassio for Meiko.
I'm feeling the music.
The music's great, actually.
It's pretty good.
It is really good, as Cassio does in fact get banned by Meiko.
Pantheon, there we go.
All right, so that's what Frozen won. He's like, I saw that last game. Get that out of there.
That's not happening to me.
I'm not as dumb as Pastry. I remember who won that game. As Meiko with one final ban here.
There's a couple of bans for Pantheon, though, as well as the pick, so definitely some players worried about that. Don't want to get all in.
Probably should have made a bet about Pantheon presence in the 1v1 tournament. Might have won
Zoe
that
ban
one.
did not work out so
Certainly
well.
did not. Syndra, the final ban there for Meiko with a 1 more to go from Frozen. As Lucian, a very, very good 1v1 champion in All-Stars past. Meiko, that's an Azir hover.
That would be very interesting to actually see if we do get out the Azir. I definitely think it's not too bad.
It's interesting.
Because a lot of the difficulties of Azir are to do with position, with flanking, where your soldiers are, being able to actually pull off these sorts of different moves. But on this map, it's so skinny. There's no flanking. There's no way you can be surprised. It's very easy to kind of establish your line of soldiers. And you actually do have pretty powerful poke with even just the Q +1 auto. And it's actually Lux versus Azir, which I would think would be one of the tough matchups for Azir.
I agree.
And not something I really would have expected to come out. So, whew, blind pick.
Feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Pick Azir and then meet a poke champion, which is, of course, one of Azir's struggles. Meiko maybe having a laugh about it, but like, uh-oh, not what I expected
Yeah.
at all.
He's probably thinking, maybe I'll get some sort of mid-range, short range.
Yeah, get some Varus back in
maybe
there.
Nasus, maybe start poking him. I don't know.
Nope.
It is going to be the Lux. This will be pretty interesting.
So this is actually something where I think the early levels obviously matter in a 1v1. You get very little playtime overall. And of course, once win conditions met, you're out, and it's a single Elium tournament. So you don't have much room for mistakes. The margins are very thin. Azir, obviously Azir, let's talk about his mechanics real quick. You have to take W at level 1.
Yep.
Thumbs up, normally great, because you just want to use the soldier and push. Lux, decent burst damage. I mean, she's going to go E, but that is pretty abysmal wave clear relative to Azir at level 1.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it's going to be more about just trying to poke off the Azir, right? You have Comet on Lux, and when you have those slows on your abilities, it's going to be a hit confirm for your Comet, which makes it a very strong combination. They're just trying to throw out the E. I'm expecting an E-Max from Frozen, trying to poke out his opponent. Meiko can try to kind of control the minion waves, and one of the things that's pretty interesting because of these summoner setups that we're having, it's not something you normally have to talk about, he actually has a way to gap close, right? And you can look for an all-in with your E. If you do actually hit your opponent with the E, you get the shield, you actually get a soldier spawn as well now, I do believe. So the all-in can be pretty strong in a situation where perhaps Meiko is able to dodge a binding, dodge an E, and then find a way in. We'll see how effective he's going to be able to be, but already a little bit of trading back and forth. Both players probably going to just go back to base.
Yep, nice bit of harass there from Meiko. Kind of a fun thing I like to track. Doesn't come up that often, but getting your mana flow band procced early can be relevant at times, because using it when you have full mana is actually obviously not very good, which is what it starts at level 1. Meiko actually sticking around though. Going to get to the wave first here after Frozen based.
Yeah, really prioritizing just having the push. That's kind of what this tells me. Because he is going to be sacrificing some health to do that. He's down around 90 or 100 health. Like, that is actually pretty significant. That's almost a full potion that he kind of sacrificed for not basing. But he has cleared out the wave, and he's hoping now that he will be able to deny enough of the CS away from his opponent to make that worth it. But he did miss 2 of the CS uncontested on his own, so we'll see if it pays off. Yeah,
like you said, sport sometimes not as who's to getting them last hits. As Airy vs. Comet once again.
He's 4 for 4. Missed. Not doing so hot on the CS thing there.
Yep, gonna have to get them back through.
But it's 0 for Frozen right now, 1. So,
yeah.
I mean, although the Meiko did miss a lot of farm actually pushing it in, Frozen is very clearly not used to last hitting on this map with how the turret does extra damage. He's not looking too comfortable there. And it is ending up with a slight advantage for Meiko, even though he only got 6 of the 12 minions.
A step forward there for Meiko. I think trying to get out from under the radius of E.
Part of the problem there, though, is Meiko is trading into a cannon wave, right? So he's actually stepping forward, and I feel like he actually won those trades as far as the damage that the opponents dealt to each other. But when Frozen has a cannon that's actually retaliating there, it's going to do as much or more damage in the early game oftentimes than your abilities are actually dealing. So you have to be very cognizant of who has more range minions, who has the cannons working to their advantage. And right now it's Frozen that does have that wave kind of pushing for his side.
3 points Q for Meiko. Probably not going to make a big difference not having your E, but certainly opting for, again, more trading power earlier. Frozen now level 4 though. Still taking damage.
I mean, the E is only really going to come into play if you're trying to actually go for a full-on all-in. So I think 2 points Q early on does make a lot of sense. As well, I expect to see 2 points E from Frozen in the early levels, and then go your W for the shield at level 4, which is what he's done. Meiko, gonna have to see how much of this farm he can actually pick up, because right now they are tied. There's about 10 minions sitting at his turret. If he can grab some of this farm, could be a pretty nice advantage, get him a decent base, but so far has gotten the 1. He's going to pick up a couple more.
Yeah, missed the cannon, but trying to, again, kind of get the scraps under the turret. It's a couple there, going to keep it pretty close.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, 4 minions left there for Frozen to hit here, so he hits them all. They'll still be pretty even. Meiko, they're taking a lot of harass as well, and this could be interesting on the back time as Meiko going to grab his relic. Nice dodge and that light binding there by Meiko. Lux's 6 certainly very relevant for some sort of at least harassment off, forcing away, maybe getting a summon if you can connect with a light binding. Meiko though playing up, looks like he's going to try and get there first, like hitting down those minions.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. I mean, they're both staying around relatively low. They don't have any HP potions left, so
Ooh, Meiko actually going back in. Frozen forced to burn the heal there.
that's actually pretty nice because it is traded back and forth, but now it's exhaust versus barrier. I do feel like Frozen is going to have more trouble getting good use out of the exhaust if Meiko wants to sit back. There's not really going to be a chance for Frozen to do that, where you're always going to get some sort of use from that barrier. One of the really interesting choices here, though, is actually Celestial Body for Frozen. So he's actually taken 10% less damage dealt for 100 HP. So this is the mastery that you take 10% less damage dealt for the first 10 minutes, but you get the bonus health. So he's really kind of just prioritizing what he thinks to be survivability. He's figuring perhaps he can just poke his opponent out and make sure they can't get all in with that. He did also take the Biscuit Delivery, and oh my god, not even using the barrier. Meiko, that was pretty close.
I hope he calculated that one, because that was
We'll
close.
give him the benefit of the doubt.
My goodness, nice snipe there from Frozen, actually hitting the edge of that pretty big laser hitbox.
The secondaries are really where the kind of differentiation here is, though. It's Celestial Body and Biscuit Delivery for Frozen versus Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter for Meiko. So he is trying to look for the kind of healing from abilities, but I do think Frozen is kind of outthought him a little bit with the biscuits. I think you're going to get more health back than you can actually get in a short game from Taste of Blood.
Whoa,
for the all-in.
Coming in, has the ultimate, shuffles perfectly onto Frozen. Needs one more
the
auto
minions are on him.
Yeah, Meiko now actually just has to deal with the minions. Frozen gets a bit of a shield. The health bars are so low.
Oh, the minions are on Frozen. They're chasing him in. He's just going to die to those ranged minions.
Meiko waiting
He doesn't
again.
have to do anything.
Yep, chilling
Just
out.
stand
Let
back.
the soldiers do it. As this new minions get the kill.
Oh my god. What a tilter for Frozen. The melee minion goes off on a rogue mission there, walks into the bush, and that's all it took. It gives the ranged minions the vision into the bush. Meiko very intelligently backing off and pulls off a nice all-in. Sets up the minion kill there. He is going to move on. Support players looking pretty good.
I mean, a funny situation at the end there, certainly, but Meiko with a smooth Azir combo
It was slick.
to finish, to almost finish off that game. That is some very interesting situational awareness that doesn't come up very often for Meiko to just be like, oh, you know, I just have to wait. Like, he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, it was really smart. He sees the opportunity here, very low on health, but he gets the E shield, has his barrier. Exhaust really not being effective there for Frozen because most of the damage had already come out. And then it's this melee minion wins the game for Meiko, walks into the bush. Frozen cannot get it out of there. How do you walk through that soldier? You cannot. The ranged minions finish him off. Pretty funny situation, and Meiko knows what's about to happen there, and he is loving it.
Yep, smart stuff at the end there for Meiko, but he certainly is a player that takes a lot of pride and joy, especially when he plays League.
A little bit unlucky for Frozen now,
Yeah.
losing to Wolf, losing to Meiko. The supports